Minasan, okarinasai. Well, actually, this might be your first video of mine, so I should say Minasan yokoso. Today, I've got a big guide for you to get into the Love Live series, and we're just going to jump straight into it. There are 3 main ways to digest the franchise. First, watch the anime. But which one? Well, we have 4 different series: School Idol Project, Sunshine, Nijigasaki School Idol Club, and Superstar. Honestly, you can watch them in any order, but I don't see why you wouldn't want to watch them in the order that they were released, which is the same order I just mentioned. However, I can see an argument that one series may not be as appealing as others. So let's go over them real quick. I'll mostly just go over the main plots. Love Live School Idol Project began airing in 2013. It focuses on 9 girls that go by the group name of Muse, and they're trying to save their school from shutting down. How will they do this? Well, by becoming school idols, winning Love Live, and attracting new students to their school. School Idol Project has 2 13-episode seasons and 1 full movie. Sunshine began airing in 2016 and is more or less the exact same thing. 9 girls, this time being called Aqua, trying to save their school from being closed down. However, with this series, the creators had more experience, so even though the plot looks the same, it's actually fairly different. And the charm point in this one is the cast and the characters, who are all very unique and basically all well written. Although I guess you can argue that with all of the groups. The Love Live series probably has the best character design, development, and personalities in my humble opinion. Also, Sunshine along with Aqua are my personal favorite series and group within the franchise, so I don't know, you could just start here. The only thing that you wouldn't fully understand is the leader of the group mentioning Muse's name and saying it wrong, and then a character correcting her. So yeah, honestly, you don't even need to see the first series to watch this one. But anyway, this series also has 2 seasons of 13 episodes and a movie. But this year, they will have a spin-off of sorts. I don't know how else to describe it other than a fantasy RPG spin-off. I'm actually very excited and curious to see where they will take this Idol series. So let's move on to the Nijigasaki School Idol Club. Take a wild guess what this group's name is. This began airing in 2010, and this time we have 10 lead characters, though only 9 of them would become the Nijigasaki School Idol Club. Nijigasaki being their school name, by the way. You can just call them Nijigaku for short, or just Niji. This story may not go as deep as the other 2, but I assure you the animation, character design, and music will make up for that. In fact, in the very first episode, 2 of the girls stumble across a school idol doing a small performance. And the animation of the character's reaction perfectly captures the feeling of a fan seeing their favorite idols perform. The main plot isn't about the school closing down this time, instead it's the idol club being shut down. So they recruit more girls, and they actually mostly perform as solo acts rather than a whole group like the other 2 series. Nijigaku only has 2 seasons so far, and currently they have a chibi short series spin-off airing. Also in Season 2, you can expect new lead characters on top of the returning cast. One other thing to mention with this series though is that one of the voice actors will be stepping down from her role due to health issues, and there will be a new voice for any future media. Finally, we have Love Live Superstar, focusing on Liella. Debuting in 2021, in this series we only have 5 lead girls. Again, they tease the whole school closing down thing, but it's not the main plot. With this one, the girls just want to have fun and have their voices be heard. This also only has 2 seasons, but a 3rd season has been announced. Also again in Season 2, you can expect new faces to join the main cast. If you want some more motivation to watch but without fully committing to a whole season, you can find songs from the anime on YouTube, most of which on the official channel. I'll have songs and openings from each series down below. The music is the main selling point, so I'd say you could even just start with that. But that leads me to the next potential gateway, skipping the anime altogether and just watching the concerts. Naturally, all of the voice actors for the girls perform as them in live action as well. This is a completely different experience and a much more intimate experience, since you can see their faces, expressions, and most importantly, their passion for the series and for performing. Each group has had many concerts throughout the years. Muse, who actually doesn't perform anymore, maybe I should have mentioned that earlier, but I guess I was just talking about the anime versions before. The live action Muse actually had their final concert in 2016. From their debut in 2010 to their disbandment, they had a total of 6 full live shows, and a handful of smaller events, and being guests at festivals and whatnot. All of the groups have been guests at many festivals, talk shows, and just other television broadcasts, so instead of repeating myself, I'll just mention it now. They have also all had fan meets, which you might already be used to if you're a fan of other franchises. But if you're new to this, it's exactly what it sounds like. The group sitting at tables at convention sites, talking, doing skits, and having a good time interacting with the fans. And they also sing a couple songs for everyone as well. So now moving on to Aqua, they have also had 6 full lives, but some of these were tours, being at multiple locations throughout different months but still being labeled as one concert, notably their 2nd and 6th lives. Aside from the numbered events, they've had 2 separate online-only lives, and 2 extra lives, well actually only one, with the 2nd starting on February 14th. However, they did something a little different than Muse, those being the subunit only lives. A quick TLDR on subunits, the groups usually have 9 girls, so you divide that into 3 groups of 3. so they can sing in different genres, and so the other girls can rest while the crowd still gets to see a live performance. Muse did have subunits, but they never got solo events, while all 3 of Aqours subunits did have 2 full lives each. Also a little test run back in 18 called the Unit Carnival, where all 9 girls were there, but they mainly focused on the 3 girl subunits. Also, it was hosted by their in-universe rival group, while Muse's rivals never got to perform live. Nijigasaki is more or less the same, 5 full lives, and they technically only had subunit fan meets. Well, until just recently actually, 2 of their 4 subunits have had full concerts. And yes, they do have 4 subunits because, well, they have more members. Also, it's not 4 groups of 3, rather 2, 3, 3, and 4. And Niji doesn't have any rivals, so we got no guest performances. Liella, however, does have rivals. 2 in fact. A group of 2, then a singular performer. And all 3 of them have appeared at different Liella live shows. These girls have had 3 full lives, 2 of which being tours, and I cannot stress that enough. These 2 tours basically equal to just as many concerts that Aqours has performed despite being 5 years older than Liella. Each of Liella's tours has had 10 or more shows, and that's actually crazy. So if you want content, you've got plenty. Don't feel overwhelmed though, take your time if you decide to watch them all. I should also mention that the shows are basically the same though. Like all the shows from Liella's first tour would have a very similar set list with minor changes. So you can realistically just watch 1 or 2 and get the full experience. The franchise as a whole has also had 2 full festivals, one in 2022 featuring the first 3 groups, yes, even Muse, who came out of retirement for one special night, and then a second fest at the end of 2021, which had all 3 currently active groups, and at the end they even all did a song together. Once again, you can find videos of majority of these very easily here on the tube. They are not full concerts though, just digests, and some of them will be linked down below. The downside is trying to purchase them legally. They are pricey and shipping fees are crazy. But if you're used to sailing the 7 seas, then I'm sure you won't have a problem finding them. The final thing I will talk about is the music itself. No group is tied down to a single genre. In fact, I think every single genre has been tackled except for maybe like country. Maybe? I don't know. I'm sure there's one somewhere. The first 3 groups easily have 100+ songs, and Liella's song list just keeps getting bigger and bigger every month. So a good starting point for any group is their anime openings and their main singles. These are marketed to be their big songs after all. Like I've been saying, you probably can find every single song here on the tube. Maybe not always from official sources though. Also, your local music app, whether that be Apple Music, Spotify, or whatever else there is, you can find their music on there and just listen while at work. Or while doing chores, or like taking a walk, I guess. I don't know how to segue to this, so the next thing I'll talk about is aside from full groups and subunit songs, every character has solo songs. All of the characters, except for the Muse girls, have multiple solo tracks. In fact, Niji's main focus is the solo music. These have a vast variety of genres, so I'll just mention one from each group. Chika's One More Sunshine Story, being a circus theme song. Setsuna's Chase, a very vocal heavy track, her Seiyu being one of the best singers. Unfortunately, she is the one who is retiring very soon. Then we have Kanon's Going Up, a very fun upbeat song. Yeah, so apparently the Muse girls actually did have solos, but I only really saw one for Hanyo and one for Nico, so I guess I just forgot. There's a lot of music, you'll have to forgive me for forgetting. When it comes to Aqours, they also have an assortment of duo and trio music, so characters who are not in a unit together can still have a song featuring them. An example being Riko and Yo, who are in different subunits. They get to sing a nice Christmas song together. Muse also had a small assortment of duos, and so does Liella. There is literally endless content with this franchise, let me tell you. I did say no group has one specific genre, but if you're looking for specific stuff, majority of the music can be considered pop, so you can assume most songs have that kind of sound. But each group has a song or two that vastly differs from others. When it comes to Muse, they have a track called A Loveless World, which is not in the anime or marketed like at all. This song is a lot heavier than you would expect from idols. Aqours has a punk rock song called Gemstone DEAI, and Niji has an introduction song where you can learn one thing about each of the characters, called Ryodan Victory Road. And Liella, well, all their stuff follows the same formula more or less for now, but I'll recommend their latest popular banger, Vitamin Summer. As for the subunits, again, not exactly fully tied down to a singular genre, but each of them definitely have a main theme. I'll start with Muse and their unit Lily White. This is your traditional Japanese Showa era group. Some nice slow dance music for you and your significant other, whether that be a person or a body pillow with your favorite character on it, or even a giant nestleberry. No judgment here. When it comes to Printemps, their sound is more cheerful, happy, heartfelt stuff. Probably something like your more standard idol music. But they also have electric guitar in the background. Finally, BB, the most popular of the 3 units, they're very energetic, fast tempo, club party music. They're also like kind of hot, you know? Like not necessarily their looks, but the way they're acting. Definitely have water ready if you're planning on watching them live. Next up is the Aqours subunits, starting with Azalea. They can be labeled as electronic music with some elegance in their vocals. The tempo is like right in the middle of slow and fast. Shout On, however, is very high energy music, while also having a very cute charm to them. Guilty Kiss, well, they are probably the most popular unit in the whole franchise. Their style was originally marketed as like a hard rock group, but over time they ended up having more upbeat party music. If you're more interested in the rock stuff, well, check out Strawberry Trapper, Koryasuki, and Shooting Star Warrior. They have like 2 more rock-like songs, but these ones are definitely your gateways. But if you'd rather the party music, well, New Romantic Sailors, Guilty Night Guilty Kiss, and Guilty Eyes Fever would be your jam. This group also has 2 members who are widely accepted as being the best singers in all of Aqua and maybe even the whole franchise, also having one of them being the best dancer. So again, listening to their music might be your best starting point. When it comes to Aqua subunits, apart from their original songs, they also have 2 remixed versions of their tracks. These are usually used as the introduction songs while the girls are coming on stage. Then they actually do something else fun by singing covers of the Aqua songs. So if you end up liking the song By My Tonight, but you think maybe you just want to hear the Guilty Kiss ladies singing it, well, you can, as that is one of the songs that the unit covers. So we have 4 more units to go over briefly, those being the ones associated with Nijigaku. First up, Diver Diva, a unit of 2. They are a good combination of Bibi and Azalea, but a little more mature. Well, I mean, that's what they're going for at least. But the sound is very upbeat, high-tempo electronic music. Next is Quartz, a 4-member unit, and while I don't really know how to describe their music, it's slower paced for sure, and like kind of romantic in a way. More stuff for you to groove to with your Nesoberry. Asuna is your traditional 3-girl unit. Their music is very similar to Shout On, but with less crazy energy. But it's the idol stuff featuring instrumental elements. And their image is more hardworking, I'd say. And finally, the newest subunit, Rebirth. Their charm is the fact that each of their characters, and by default their seiyuu, speak a different language. Well, they all speak Japanese, but one is also Chinese and the other is American, but her seiyuu is actually Australian. Also, I get like massive K-pop vibes from them. Liella currently doesn't have any subunits, though I'd say it's only a matter of time. This year they will actually probably be announced. A couple more music related things to go over real quick. There is also holiday themed songs, like Muse's Dancing Stars on Me for Halloween, though it's not spooky at all. I honestly don't know why this was chosen for that. It actually should have been Loveless World. Anyway, each group has a Christmas song. Aqua actually had a whole album focused on that. While all groups also have plenty summer themed tracks as well. Shoutouts to Liella's Tokonatsu Sunshine. The last thing to mention is that the fact that you can play the rhythm game to get song experiences. This can be more viable to you since they're just the short versions of the songs and you can figure out whether you like them or not faster. You can play Love Live School Idol Festival on mobile or console and they are both free. Though the current Cyphus on mobile will be shutting down at the end of March and a brand new game will launch soon after, I think around the end of April. Some other things to mention are that every girl has an image color assigned to them, so that you can show your support with your glow stick by selecting their color, as well as having a call and response, so they say something to you and you respond back with a word or phrase. Like Chica will say kan kan, and the crowd will reply with mikan. Repeat 2 more times and that's her call and response. It's actually a really good way to interact with the fans, although I wouldn't worry too much about this. This is stuff you will learn as you become a fan over time. And finally, everyone has a career outside of Love Live, so you may even already recognize some of the girls, especially in Nijigasaki, really popular seiyuu over there. And with that, we have reached the ending. Hopefully this was a good guide. I do feel maybe I ranted too much, but I wanted to give you as much detail as I could so you could find some sort of interest and give the franchise a chance. I can confidently say there are many songs that literally anyone and everyone can enjoy. So if I did convince you, consider subscribing. All I do is talk about the seiyuu in Love Live and many other similar groups. Speaking of, please join me in the next video. The same thing, but for the Bang Dream franchise. I look forward to seeing you there.